But as well, the other big reform is the corporative reform in Pemex. Right now, we are taking out Pemex out of the budget, so we are giving to the company an external board that controls the company, that it's gonna give Pemex the in practical ways, in practical words, the speed of decisions that Pemex needs to make as a private company. That in the old.
So you're doing to Pemex what you've done with the electricity company in Mexico.
No, we're more further than that. We are still a Mexican company. It's a government-owned company, but right now they have the flexibility to use the budget as they want. They used to manage Pemex as a minister. Right now we are starting to manage Pemex as a company.
Yeah.
So that's something that in the medium term is going to give us the results, and we're going to see a company, more efficient company, more productivity company to start growing again.
But even as you do that, it appears that the government has to invest about $10 billion, to kickstart the oil exploration activities. At the same time, allow foreign investors in there and give them a stake, which will potentially reduce the government's revenue stream in the medium term. And you have to do work on the tax reform part of your budgets, basically. Now, how's that going to work out? Because something has to give in the process. There will be a period where there will be an investment period rather than a return period.
No, because first of all, we have I think we have enough oil for maintain a platform in the next 10 years in around 2.4 million barrels a year. So right now the platform start balance in between 2.4 to 2.5 millions of barrels a year for the next maybe 10 years or 10 years. In that time is when we're going to start exploring in deep waters and exploring the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to take about 8 to 10 years to get the first barrel.
Right.
So we have this 10 years, and right now we are starting moving in the fiscal reform, because even though we have a lot of oil in the Gulf of Mexico, we need to increase the in terms of the GDP, the revenues of the government out of taxes. So we are in the process to analyze which one is the best arrangement in terms of the fiscal arrangement in order to increase the base of contributors to the government, and also to help the companies to be more competitive and satisfied.
Those of us who observe Mexico from outside are saying that your government is doing the right things. But even as you're doing the right things, the report card at the end of the year reflects other problems that the economy is facing. You need a few quick wins in order to hold on to power, to make sure that the reforms continue. And so what sort of assurances do people outside of Mexico need to look at in order to see that you're succeeding and that you will be in power to make sure that it will continue and end?
No, actually, in Mexico, the democracy, I think it's already there. Nobody sees a risk that we're going to continue in power.
Despite the election results recently?
Yeah, because we're going to, at least the rest of the normal period of the president. Okay, which is 3 years more.
Okay.
And then we're going to be in elections, and we don't see in the future that even though our party is not at the that we wish, and we are going to fight for that. I think the democracy and the counterbalance of institutions in Mexico are already there.
Monetary policy. I think that Mexico is way too linked to the U.S. and in monetary terms as well, and in terms of the currency fluctuation and the way in which the recent global crisis affected your economy in that sense. What's being done to diversify Mexico's dependence on the U.S. as an economy, and what can we expect in terms of monetary reform to make sure that the investments coming in are stable in that way.
Mexico and United States are continuing working together in order to increase the competitiveness, and I'm pretty sure that the United States still be the biggest consumer for Mexican products in the next years. But we're going to be more aggressive. Actually, 5 years ago, the exports to the United States was 95%. Right now it's 79%. And we are moving ahead with South America, Asia, and Europe as well.
There is a likelihood that Citibank might sell its stake in the Mexican bank, Banamex, I think. And are you afraid of investors, especially in the financial sector, pulling out of Mexico or giving up what they have in Mexico, and how that will affect your FDI going forward?
Oh, first, our Mexican system, our banking Mexican system is very strong. Actually, Banamex, even though it's part of Citibank, Banamex in Mexico and Latin America is making a very good money. It's a very strong bank in terms of capitalization. We didn't pass a financial crisis in Mexico. Our crisis was related because our biggest consumer of products, the real economy was hit by the financial crisis. But our banks is very good capitalized. We have I think the investors, foreign investors that are investing in banks in Mexico are very happy. Not only the Americans as well. We have investment from Canada, from Spain, so there is all the worldwide banks are already in Mexico, well capitalized, doing good job, doing good profits.
So do you have any fear at all in terms of the decisions that Citi has to make on Banamex affecting the financial sector?
Let's say that Citibank decided to sell Banamex. Banamex can live alone. Banamex used to live alone from 100 years.
Right.
Before Citi bought Banamex 2 or 3 years ago.
HSBC, yeah.
Exactly. So that bank can actually, I don't know the numbers, but the other day somebody told me that in some point the market value of Banamex was bigger than the market value of Citibank.
Right.
So Banamex can survive without Citibank without any problem.
Minister, thank you very much for spending time with us.
Thank you very much.